Hi, everyone. I hope that you are enjoying the really nice weather we're having this week. I'm very excited. It's finally warming up. Yay! Um, Today, we're going to talk about something called faith. It's a word that we use a lot, but do you even know what it really means? I think a lot of times we use words without fully understanding their meaning, and I think that probably happens especially with a lot of words that we use in church. So I looked up the word faith on dictionary.com, and here are a few of the definitions. There are like 10, but here are a few of them. One is confidence or trust in a person or being, having faith in another person's ability, having faith that your parents are going to pick you up from school or from soccer practice when you can get back to those things. Belief that is not based on proof. So, like if you're a scientist and you make up a hypothesis about something in an experiment, you think this is going to happen, you have faith that it's going to happen even though it hasn't happened yet or you haven't seen it happen yet. Um, we have faith that if we're sick, our doctors are going to help heal us, stuff like that. Um, Belief in God or in the doctrines or teachings of religion, that's often how we use it in church. Because we're talking about our faith in God, our faith in Jesus. Belief in anything as a code of ethics, standards of merit, etc. So that's more of a system of belief. To be of the same faith with someone concerning honesty, meaning you have the same belief that honesty is important. So when we're talking about the things that we hold dear, like loving each other, that's part of our system of belief or our faith. So, what does all of this mean? Why are we talking about faith? Today's story is about somebody in the Bible who was struggling about what it all meant to have faith as well. He had some questions, and because of that, he has earned the nickname Doubting Thomas. But I'm going to challenge all of you to really think about whether that's a fair nickname or if we can maybe come up with a better nickname for Thomas in our story. Um, because I think that his story in the Bible has a lot to teach us about faith and what it means to doubt and if Thomas was really a doubter. So, so today's story comes from, we're going to talk more about that after the story. Today's story comes from John chapter 20, verses 24 through 31. And as you can see in our Deep Blue Bible storybook, it's called, hold on, I'm still struggling with this. It's called Thomas Believes. So maybe that's a good clue as to what his new nickname could be. Think about that. Okay. And again, this is John 20, 24 to 31. "We've seen Jesus," said the other disciples. Thomas didn't believe what the disciples told him. "I doubt it. Jesus has died. I would only believe that you saw Jesus if I saw Jesus with my own eyes," Thomas replied. See? Okay. So all these other disciples have seen Jesus, and Thomas hasn't, so he doesn't think he really believes them. 8 days later, the disciples, this time Thomas was with them, were in their hiding place again. They had all the doors locked and were sitting in the room trying to decide what to do next. All of a sudden, Jesus appeared. See, you can see all the disciples there. And then that's Thomas right there with Jesus. Okay. "Peace be with you," said Jesus. "Thomas, don't doubt, believe." "It's you, Jesus," exclaimed Thomas. Jesus said to Thomas, "Do you only believe because you see me? Have faith. Believe." Okay, see? Can you think of something you believe about Jesus? I think there's a lot of things that we all believe about Jesus, right? So, when I was little, I always thought that the main character in this story of Doubting Thomas was Thomas. right? But as we go through this, let's think for a minute. This is in the gospel. And who is the main character in the gospel? Jesus, right? That's what we've talked about this whole time. We know if you're talking about Jesus, you're in the gospel because the gospels are the good news, and the good news is Jesus. So instead of focusing on Thomas as the main character in this story, let's focus on Jesus, okay? I think that this simplifies what really happened. Instead of this being a story about somebody who was doubting, who didn't have faith, it's a story about somebody who is giving someone who's struggling what they need in order to have faith, right? This story sort of simplifies a lot of what happened. If you read it in the actual Bible, ta-da, see, much less exciting one, lots of little tiny print. It says Jesus did more. Jesus arrived in the amidst the disciples and said, "Peace be with you." And then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here and see my hands, and put out your hand and place it in my side. Do not be faithless, but believing." Thomas answered him, "My Lord and my God." Jesus said to him, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe." Nowhere does it say that Thomas only believed because he saw Jesus. Instead, Jesus is giving Thomas those things that he needs. He's answering Thomas's questions about Thomas's faith. And he never said to Thomas, "You are not blessed because you didn't believe." I think rather what he's doing is he's reminding Thomas, you have faith. You do believe. It's already there. So you don't need all this physical proof, but if you need it, I'll give it to you. But you don't need it because you already have it. I hope that makes sense. It made sense in my head, and I feel like it's not making as much sense coming out. So this story is not here to tell us that it's not okay to have questions about our faith. It's here to tell us the opposite, right? Thomas didn't lose his place as a disciple because he had questions, because he didn't believe what the other disciples were telling him. He was still a disciple, and he was still one of Jesus' beloved friends, right? We are blessed because we believe and we have faith. And it's that simple. And if we have questions about our faith, it doesn't make us bad Christians. It doesn't make us non-believers. It makes us human. Just like Thomas, just like one of the people who was closest to Jesus had questions, it's okay for us to have questions too. So I really encourage you all who are watching this, and I say this to the youth in my youth group all the time, right? It's okay to have questions. Please ask questions. I have no problem at all with you saying, this seems weird, this seems fishy. Why do we believe this? I'm having a hard time, I'm struggling. That's okay. You're allowed to struggle, and you're a good person, and you're a good Christian if you struggle. None of your struggles make you bad or naughty or wrong. It's okay to struggle. I really want to get that message home to you all. I don't ever want people to make you feel like you're wrong because you have questions about your faith. So, back to Thomas's nickname, right? What do you think we should call him? Do you think Doubting Thomas is really the best nickname for him? Maybe we could even call him Human Thomas because he's human and humans have questions and it's our nature and it's what makes us able to make so many advancements, right? Maybe we can call him Faithful Thomas because Jesus reminded him that he is faithful. He does have this faith. Or Trusting Thomas, right? He trusted Jesus. And that's got a fun alliteration to it. I sort of like it. Anyway, email me or comment below what you think that his nickname ought to be. I think that could be kind of fun. And remember, if you have questions about anything, go to your parents, go to me, go to Pastor Dan, any of us. We would be happy to talk with you, even if it's just to say, I don't know, because sometimes that's the answer, and that's why we have faith. So let's go ahead and close in prayer. God, thank you for the stories that help us believe in Jesus. Thank you for loving us and encouraging us to ask questions. Help us to live following Jesus' examples so others may also believe. Thank you for loving us each and every day. Amen. Thank you all for joining me today. This week, I encourage you to talk with your family about what it is you believe. And remember that it's okay to ask questions. Work together to write down some family beliefs and maybe display the beliefs somewhere in your house. And that's all that I've got for you today. I hope that you all have a wonderful week. Bye.